Welcome to One More Game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. I am your host, Matt Brandenberger, alongside my wife, Abby.
Hello.
And our producer, Adam Marino.
Yes, sir.
Happy New Year to everyone out there, and thanks for joining us for this very special episode of One More Game. As we also have a guest in the studio, please welcome Marcus Woodhouse, all the way up from Lawrence, Indiana, about a 2-hour drive. Marcus, thank you so much for joining us. It is great to have you here.
My pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. We actually just played a couple hours of pickleball and then enjoyed lunch together at a local favorite.
J.K. O'Donnell's, we can say it.
Yeah, we can.
It's delicious.
I mean, maybe they want to sponsor us. We're always looking for sponsors. And Marcus, he found me out. He came back from the bathroom. He said, "I know why you like this place so much. They have little goals in the urinals, and it's fun little game to play while you're in there taking care of business."
Would that make our bathroom cleaner?
Maybe.
Should I?
No, the splash effect.
Yeah.
That's right.
Could be a thing.
It'd have to be like floating though. That'd be interesting. So, anyways, so this is our official first podcast of 2023 of the new year. So one of our goals is to bring our listeners more interviews and pickleball stories. And as we brainstormed, both of us, like one of the first names that came to mind was Marcus Woodhouse. And so we're so glad to have you here. Excited to talk to you about all things pickleball, and then also have some cool things. You've got quite a story. And so let's dive right into it. Maybe just kind of give us some general biographical info. Who are you, Marcus Woodhouse?
Marcus Woodhouse. I mean, 50 years old now, which is great in pickleball.
Absolutely. Seniors.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah. Senior pro.
Yeah.
Play a couple. But
You have
Are you going to?
Any
Are you
on the
gonna
schedule?
play?
yeah, well, I played last year. And Brian Cook played last year in
That's
Punta Gorda.
awesome.
Yeah.
And me and
Because you were
Brad-
pickleball official 50,
50.
last year.
Yes.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
now- okay, nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna play again, and me and another guy are gonna play this year in Punta in a couple weeks.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
In the senior pro division.
Yep.
Then.
That's
Yeah.
super exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what else?
Sorry,
So
we
2
interrupted.
daughters.
Yeah.
Yep.
2 daughters, soon to be 20 and 22.
Okay.
Youngest is a sophomore at Ball State.
Okay.
Nice.
So, puppy owner.
Yeah.
She's over there I'm sorry.
He.
He's over there in the
Pickle's
corner.
over in the corner,
Yeah.
doing a great job.
Yeah, his name is Pickle. That's it.
And we have 2 dogs, and we love our 2 dogs, but Pickle's like the most amazing dog I've ever seen.
It really is.
They have a little backpack for him, and
Right.
he goes virtually everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
That's
Right?
so
Yeah.
great.
And we first met him down in Pictona when you
Uh-huh.
guys were down there,
Yeah.
and I was just couldn't believe how chill of a dog he is.
Right.
I'm kind of
and-
jealous.
And the
Yeah.
girls just
My
loved
girls
him.
loved him.
And,
Yeah.
and he loved it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so great. So you have 2 daughters, and do they live near you?
Yes.
Okay. So you get to see them.
Yep.
Good.
So, youngest one that's in college, she's pretty busy. She works full time.
Yeah. And goes to college.
Yep.
It's pretty
so,
busy.
But I try to get up there
Yeah.
once a month and have dinner. And
That's
Good.
awesome.
That's great.
she's like, as long as you bring pickle.
And pay for the dinner.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
For sure.
that's always, you pay for dinner, fill up the gas tank.
And then you're good.
And you're
You've
good.
like nailed it as a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
The
Even
older
as a,
they get, it's money.
yeah. Even as
Yeah.
a 44-year-old man, I still hit my parents up for those
You
2
do.
things
You
as
sure
much
do.
as possible. Love you, Mom and Dad. Yeah. All right, so let's talk maybe a little bit about pickleball then.
Yeah.
What's your conversion story? How long have you been playing? Kind of talk to us about why we'd have you on this pickleball podcast.
Yeah. So 6 years now. So the company I work for, everything foam craft. We couch bedding. My glue supplier is like, hey, my dad taught me this game. You got to come to the Y and play it. And I'm like, I've never even heard of it. So again,
Were you interested? Like,
Did he even tell you the name?
Right.
He did, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
so why did you
okay.
say yes?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity?
Because he asked me like twice,
Okay.
and then I'm like,
And you're a good
okay.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's your supplier, right? So
He
you got to
is.
keep him happy.
So
or-
good relationship. We
Yeah.
went dirt bike, and we have
Yeah.
a lot in common. So
Sure.
I was like, okay, so go there. And so growing up, we had 2 ping pong tables in our basement, and so me and my brother would
Okay.
play ping pong. Whoever won, the other person had to put their shirt
We
over
did
their
that.
head,
Yeah.
and you got the free shot.
Did you
from
call
across-
it welts?
No, we just
No.
it was just a free shot.
Just a free
Okay,
shot?
we had a name for it too.
Yeah, we called it welts.
Suicide pickleball.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Right.
And so
Dark.
the
I know.
first game of pickleball, somebody popped it up and I smashed it. I'm like, wait, you don't have to actually win the game to hit it at somebody. Yes.
That was
I
like
was
your
full-
Were
favorite.
you like, take off your shirts?
Yeah.
And so like that day after the first game,
yeah.
my buddy was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
He's like,
Like having regrets.
What have I done?
He's like, you're
Yeah.
already better than me, and I've been playing for a year.
I unleashed a monster.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
And
That's
does he
great.
play still? Or?
Yeah. So his dad introduced him. He plays, and his son plays. So 3 generations
that's
of
great.
pickleball. And lower level, but enjoys. I mean,
That's really
he's
cool.
one of those guys. When you're getting ready to hit him, he starts laughing. You know, he
yeah,
already
yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
He's just
a
giggling
good
away.
guy.
Yep.
Yeah, he just likes to have fun
That's
and
fun.
out there. So I definitely appreciate.
What year was that, did you say?
It's about 6 years ago.
About 6 years
Yeah.
ago.
So I imagine you quickly grew out of the why.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how was that?
So,
What?
I was very lucky because there was a couple people. I mean, pickleball was so new, and
Yeah.
you could only play it in certain places. And there was just a group of 4 of us. So me and another guy and 2 other girls, and we just started playing together.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and the one girl was Amber McLaughlin, was like my mix partner for 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
Wow. And
probably
she's
4
high.
years.
And she's high level.
Yeah.
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 Had she been playing for a while at that point, or
No, she was fairly new
Okay,
as
so
well,
you're
and I met her
growing
at the
together,
Y,
yeah.
and then we just started. We'd go to a couple different places, and then I met Sajil. I don't know if you ever met Sajil.
Sounds familiar,
And so
yeah.
we played together, and then him and Tammy Steele would play together,
Okay.
and so the 4 of us just kind of all played together.
That was
And you
Um,
all just got better together.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
and it
so
was
cool.
cool to like have that group of
Yeah.
people.
And where would you play?
So, I mean, 5 Seasons was open at that time in Indy. The Y, there was a couple people that in their housing communities
Oh,
had
nice.
tennis
Yeah.
courts, and so you could kind of try to get invited.
Yeah.
Some, I have to remember their names, Teresa Amick and her husband were huge of getting the first courts built at Cynthia Ann Park.
Okay.
Proposing to the city.
Yeah.
And so that was really the first place that had city courts to anybody to go play.
Yeah.
And so once those hit, I mean, it was just like
Right.
wildfire.
And so you've seen it grow.
Yeah.
Like, similar to like we have in Fort Wayne over
Yeah.
the last 6 years. It's
yeah.
really.
So you can't build enough courts, and I mean, the cities are trying. It's just it's just grown so much, and I love tournaments, and so we went to tournaments all
Yeah.
over the
That's
place.
fun.
So other than hitting people with a ball,
Yeah.
what was the draw? Like, what did you?
Competitive. I grew up
Yeah.
track, cross country,
Okay.
tennis.
Yeah.
You played
golf.
tennis then, growing up.
I played my freshman and sophomore year, so I
Okay.
didn't have to run cross country.
Mm-hmm.
But I found out I was really good at cross country because I didn't have to like do anything and still
Right.
be good.
I ran
just
cross
had-
country.
I just had tons of
Yeah.
energy,
Right.
Yeah.
and so it's the best way to do
Right.
it. So
Right.
that was my tennis. I never took a tennis lesson,
Yeah.
but I grew up playing ping pong,
Yeah.
and so for me,
Those
pickleball
translated. Yeah.
is just like playing. Like if you shrunk yourself down
Yeah.
onto a ping pong table, that's pickleball.
Yeah. That's
I feel like you can see that. You can see the ping pong
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
So-
how about golf? Do you feel like you said you played golf? Do you
Yep.
feel like that translates? I've always said it does, but I don't.
Like touch, maybe.
Yeah, I just feel like the short game.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You don't.
No,
No.
yeah,
No, not for me.
yeah. I always think that's
I
weird.
mean, there's no Happy Gilmore. There's no Happy Gilmore shot
Right.
in pickleball. So I don't think it's
I sometimes hit like a crazy running forehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little happy-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I-
no, for me, it's really the pickleball, badminton. I grew up playing some badminton.
Yeah, me
So you had a
too.
lot of racket
Yeah,
sports. In
I
your,
mean, we played. I mean,
Yeah.
I grew youngest of 5. We lived
Right.
out in the country. If you could invent it, we
Yeah.
played it.
Mm-hmm.
I
right.
mean,
So if they didn't invent pickleball out in Washington,
and my
Right.
parents,
You
so
would've.
we had a basement. My
Yeah.
dad built the house we grew up in, and we had a basement that we built on the rafter, some basketball goals, and so the old basketball, the little palm ones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So the rim was that size for that.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how my mom is even sane because of the rattling of the floor joist.
Yeah.
But we would all winter long, so we had like one brick wall, and so you could bounce it off the brick wall
Yeah.
to each other. But like me and my buddies would go down there, and I mean it was just an all out.
yeah, drag out.
Like
fight.
there's no foul. There was
Yeah.
no foul.
Yeah.
So
That's like a magical childhood.
yeah. So we had that. We had a pool table. We had some big wheels down there, but then we had 11 acres of woods out
man.
behind our house.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just being active. So
Yeah.
pickleball for me was that competitive, like, I played some softball, some church league softball.
Right. I feel like there's such a high
basketball.
rate of injury as you get to be older in softball and basketball.
Yeah. Broke a wrist, tore an ACL.
Right.
Softball,
so that transition to pickleball is probably
It was healthier on my body. So I was still playing pickleball and basketball and softball, and then that quickly just went away, and I'm like, I feel a lot better playing pickleball.
Yeah.
right.
So when you started playing 6 years ago, was it pretty much you were all in right away?
Oh,
Or- yeah.
I love sports, so
Yeah.
all in is like
Yeah.
4 times a week
Same exact. Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you're like Matt, like I don't know 90%.
Right.
We're like
that's
110.
I only know 125%.
right. Why would you do something if you're not going to give it 110%?
Right.
That's Matt's motto too.
I like this guy. The more I talk to him,
You guys are exhausting.
I mean, Becca Piddles
Yeah.
around, and I'm like, I've never even heard, like, I don't know what that is. Like, you just
right.
do it. Like, there's
Right. All
not,
in.
like, do a little bit here and a little bit there. Like, I don't even know what that is.
Right. Yeah. And Becca, just to be clear, is your girlfriend
Yep.
of how long now?
Couple of years.
A couple years
Ooh.
now.
Yeah.
And met through pickleball.
We came to find out today that Becca and I both met Marcus on the same day.
Did you?
Yeah.
What?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We were hosting a tournament, Indie Pickleball Club, and it was during COVID, so you couldn't have a lot of extra people in. We kept it really safe, and just your group comes in, you play, and then you're out.
Yeah.
And so Becca was like brand new. And
How do you lay the moves on when you have to wear a mask? Like you just said, you have to be safe. You can't. How do you put the moves on?
I had to wear the mask.
Oh, yeah.
And so apparently my eyes do a way better job than
Then
my smile.
Yeah. It's kind of like that girl when she wears sunglasses and then she takes them off and you're like,
Like, oh, never mind.
yeah,
Ew.
Yeah.
No, so here's,
But,
here's my funny story. I didn't tell Becca this or you because I wanted to save it. So I was playing, that was my kind of first pickleball tournament, and I was playing on doubles day. So I was playing with my friend Kelly, and I just, for whatever reason, you were standing there, and Kelly and I just started talking to you. And it's totally okay if you don't remember any of this. And so just chatting you up, and I'm like, oh, that guy's such a nice guy. I had no idea who you were or anything. So later, some way, maybe Matt was like, oh, that's Marcus Woodhouse. He's the president of the Indie Pickleball. And I was like, oh my word. I'm like, he is my friend.
Yeah.
We're
love
friends
pickleball.
now.
I love pickleball. I love to talk pickleball.
Yeah.
And I love like new people, old people. Like I just love the sport.
Yeah.
Like I mean, probably the biggest thing, because you see in tournaments and people, I was watching a PPA event and the commentators were bashing of, how the competition, like somebody was arguing a call because, the ball was up in the air and somebody yelled when they hit it and they wanted to replay it and the other person was mad, and it's like pickleball. If you go back to the beginning of pickleball, it's always the benefit of the other player. It's the sportsmanship, and like at the end of the day, it goes back to sportsmanship. So for me, helping new people or just talking pickleball or getting somebody relaxed because they're nervous or just to talk.
I was like, I just met a famous guy.
Pickleball famous.
Yeah, that's right.
What I love is, as soon as you told that story, he didn't say, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
Nope, it's
No,
okay.
but
It's
I do.
okay. It's okay.
But I do
I'm
because
not
they
even
were
mad.
hilarious.
Oh, okay.
They were both hilarious.
I was just curious because he made no mention of it.
Yeah.
After you said, and if you don't remember, it's fine. He didn't correct you at all.
Because I could actually tell you what court.
Really?
funny.
I remember where I was,
It was
too.
on the right.
Yeah.
Like if you're walking right down the middle, it was on the right side. And our Indian Pickleball Club banner, because our trophies were
Nice.
over there.
Oh my
and then Becca
goodness.
was playing on the other side.
So I want
You were
to.
looking past me to this cute girl over there.
Yeah,
That's
and
why he remembers.
Right.
That's what I want to hear about. So then again, it's COVID. You're not like
Right.
asking people on dates. I mean, I didn't during COVID. Like,
Well, it started very
and it wasn't
pickleball.
Yeah, it was
related,
all
right?
pickleball.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
And so, I'd watched a couple of their points, and they were just finishing up. And
I bet you did.
I had never, and they were just finishing a match, and I'd never seen either one of them. So I was curious to meet them because, one.
Well, you were the president.
Right. President of the club. Hey, where'd you come from? But you could tell that they were nervous. But the first thing that caught my eye was them stacking and switching. And I'm like, she can move. This girl can move. I'm like, that's a potential mixed partner right there. When you can find a lady that doesn't mind
moves.
switching and moving, like that's the good start. But then after they got done, like just talking, and they were both nervous, and so just talking a little bit of pickleball, a little bit of strategy, because it was their first tournament that they played together, and really first tournament ever that they played. So just being able to talk a little bit of pickleball.
Yeah.
So you just became like acquaintances, or
And then you guys played in a couple tournaments together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even
So-
before you were dating or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I want to try.
Yeah.
You know, because not everybody likes to stack.
Yep.
You know, and so just trying to feel out. You know, do you even? You know, I went down to Lexington a couple times just to play, just to see. You know, if there was the mojo,
Sure.
pickleball mojo was there. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing Becca the first time too, and I was so intimidated.
Yeah. Well, I
was
played
like,
with
she
against
has awesome
her
hair.
in that same tournament. Yeah, she had like the shaved
Shaved.
head, and she was wearing 2 different color shoes. But I learned the story
Today,
behind
yeah.
that today, which
Ah.
is.
But
is
you
that-
had I mean, you were like,
Yeah.
Becca's so awesome.
Yeah. It's like pickleball crushing.
Right.
kinda a
Heidi,
little bit,
Heidi's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you got a pickleball
Yeah,
crush on
yeah.
Becca.
Yeah. My mixed partner was like, stop looking at her.
Well, was it your wife?
It was not. I was
No.
not
Oh,
his
okay.
partner.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't in the picture yet.
That would make it more funny. Yeah, they've been happily married for over 10 years, but she wasn't in
20.
the picture.
20.
Well, so we thought.
Yeah, that's also been kind of a story today, a running joke, because Abby went to the BMV recently and found out that our marriage certificate is.
It was a sham.
Is
Yeah, so this whole thing. Yeah,
20 years
all
in,
a
who
lie.
knew? It's all a lie.
yeah. All right, we got to.
Anyway.
Let's get back to.
Sorry, rabbit trails.
So let's talk some accomplishments, Marcus. What I know recently we were down in Pictona with you at the Diamond Regional Amateur Championship.
You guys did great.
And you guys
it
did
was
great.
a great
Yeah.
That was-
tournament.
yeah. Tell us about.
What have been? Have you won nationals? You've been to
No,
nationals?
so I've
a
been to
couple times?
nationals one time.
Okay.
I only got to play mixed.
Okay.
And we were 4th.
Yeah.
in
That's
that.
good.
It's still my favorite place to play.
Yeah.
Is nationals.
Yeah. Indian Wells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pictona was. I liked their format.
Yeah.
As Becca would say, the tournament guy, when you get the medals, asking how everything went, would you improve everything? We were right in line of how we round robin.
I
get
love
a lot
round
of
robin.
play
That's great,
into
yeah.
bracket. Like that's just it should be the standard of
Yeah.
tournaments. But yeah, so me and Becca had to play 4-0 35 plus, and so we were fortunate enough
Yeah.
to
Some
to
good,
win
good-
gold.
You
good
won
teams.
gold, yeah.
Good team.
You played
Yeah.
against. You played in the
Ryan.
same bracket as Matt, right?
No,
Or no.
we were on opposite sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be my only complaint. And so as a tournament guy, I wasn't really planning on talking about this, but the only thing, I loved it, the
Yeah.
format of it. The only thing my partner and I missed out because there was a 3-way tie and we lost because of points. And so that was a little bit of a bitter taste in my
Right.
mouth. But I guess
Like
I mean,
you think they should have taken 3 teams from each side?
I would love to see in those situations. I just think it's hard to like write it into
Yeah.
like the bylaws or
Right.
whatever ahead of time. But if you end up with a 3-way tie, having it, have like 3 teams from each of the pools, you still would have the incentive to win it because you get that first round bye.
And they had
I don't
enough
know.
courts.
I was gonna say they had
enough
space,
courts
yeah.
to do that they could have left some little wiggle
Uh-huh.
room. Where in some of like at Wildwood
ones,
or
sure.
in Pendleton and Indianapolis,
Yeah.
we've got it timed out.
Mhm.
Like we're going to keep you within the 15 minutes
right.
of the start, and
Right.
you know
Yeah.
we
That
have the
makes
whole
sense.
day booked. So those we already know, and we've calculated out how many. So
Right.
it's hard on that end. But
On
like
that
in
end.
Pictona, where they had half of their side
Yeah.
that wasn't even dedicated.
Yeah, they really could have done that, but then
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been fair to somebody like in the other pool who's like, well, wait a second, nobody said this ahead of time.
Right.
So I mean, I
Yeah.
get why you're not going to change it there, but
Yeah.
that's the only thing. But I do agree, round robin's great, where
It's
you get to
awesome.
play
Yeah.
everybody.
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know, all that.
especially when you travel that far.
Right.
Absolutely.
I don't want to go 2 and out.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So you won gold in 4-0 35 plus with Becca,
Yep.
and then
And then me and Brian Cook played 5-0 50 plus.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so the 2 teams we lost to in round robin, we actually came back and beat both of those teams.
Wow,
to
that's
win gold.
great.
that's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
great.
so-
How did you recalibrate like that? Did you have a different
So-
strategy or?
So the first team, the guy was really a talker, and so
Did you get in your head? Like
no.
that kind of talk?
So
Oh.
in round robin,
Like it
he
distracted
actually-
you?
he was actually telling his partner good shot as we're hitting the ball,
Mm.
and so like I'm like, hey, can you I asked for a hindrance, but the ref was like, no, that's player communication. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, but so the guy was like, oh, I'll calm down. So I
Yeah.
appreciated that. But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
in the first round of the bracket, he was tired.
Oh.
And
It
you know,
affects- it
affects
I
his
think
mouth.
we all, it does. Well, and when you start losing,
That's a nice
it's
way to
amazing.
say.
It's amazing. We all know those people that when they're up,
Yeah.
their mouth is going 100 miles an hour,
Uh-huh.
and as soon as they start losing, they're
Right.
quiet as a church mouse.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he
Yeah.
was really quiet, and that threw him off his game, and we just
He kind of ran
That's
out of energy.
amazing.
Yeah. So, and then the other team, we were fortunate enough to watch the end of their semifinal match
Uh-huh.
and watch what the other team that we didn't struggle with
Yeah.
was having their way.
Interesting.
And so was like, okay.
Yeah. What was that piece that you picked
Yeah.
up?
So we were picking on one guy, and they really weren't picking on one.
Oh.
And so, and then I saved my misdirection shot.
Oh, nice.
I didn't do a lot during
Yeah.
round robin,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
that when it got to the finals, because I had told Brian, I'm like, all we have to do is get to the finals,
Right.
and we're gonna outlast them. Like
Yeah.
we're younger, we're more athletic.
Yeah.
Like these guys, that's the nice thing about 50 plus is like
Right.
you have to be in shape at 50.
Yeah.
If not, if it's round robin, these guys are.
Oh, it's
Done.
a battle.
Toast,
It
yeah.
is
Yeah.
in long day tournaments. It's
Oh
a
my
battle of
goodness.
attrition. It's
is.
a marathon, literally.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I
mentally,
always feel
yeah.
Yeah.
in the 50 plus, like for me, I'm like, at the end of the day, I
Right.
got the energy. I got the, you know,
Yeah.
that's half the battle is to get there, but that
Mm.
have the energy for the last, gold medal.
Right.
And it did go to 3 games.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Man, that's
So
a great day.
Would you say Pictona then is that kind of your pinnacle at this point? Is in terms of your
I mean, other
accomplishments?
than an indie pickleball club tournament.
Well,
win.
Absolutely. Back in
Absolutely.
2021.
yeah.
So, but no, yeah,
Yeah.
for
That's great.
sure.
So are you going to go, do you think you'll go to nationals? Because you
Yeah.
now have 2 tickets.
Yeah. So we were gonna go last year, and Becca had back surgery.
Oh, right.
And so
Okay.
it was like her release date was like a week
Yeah.
before nationals. So we're
That's
like,
just
no,
2,
let's
yeah.
let's do Pictona.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then if we win, we'll
Yeah.
get into nationals next year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
we're hoping to have our van done, a
Nice.
new van done for nationals, so we can drive out
I
there.
feel like the van is like a topic.
Seriously, we could,
Like-
there's so much to talk about. It's like
We don't have time.
right, but just a side note, they do
Yes.
these awesome van conversions. So you guys have like a Sprinter van
Yep.
that you've converted, and that's like my dream.
It is your dream.
Yeah, when our kids are all gone and graduate, it's not an RV I want. It's a
Yeah.
converted Sprinter
it's,
van.
it's
So,
Yeah.
the way to do it.
One of my favorite things to say. The link is in the show notes,
Yeah. Oh, there
and
you
we
go.
will show the
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So would you drive it out to California?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
All right. What do you want to do? Keep going? I mean, we've got
There's
so
so
much,
We have so
so
much.
much to cover.
Do you want to pay a bill or no?
Yeah. Well, we should probably do a commercial break.
Yeah, let's do a quick commercial
Yeah.
break, and then we'll come back,
Yeah.
talk a little bit more pickleball,
Yeah.
but then we got to get into some other stuff, because
Yeah.
Marcus is a very multi-talented, lots of good stories to cover. So
Yeah.
we'll be right back after this.
Between the 2 of us, we've had 7 orthopedic surgeries, 4 cortisone injections, and countless injuries that have required physical therapy, and we are only in our early 40s. So where do we go when we need physical therapy? Indiana Physical Therapy.
That's right, Abby. With 22 locations in Fort Wayne and the surrounding counties, Indiana Physical Therapy will be there to get you back to work, play, and life.
Indiana Physical Therapy, where people go to get better.
Visit indianapt.com for more information. All right, welcome back to One More Game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. We are joined by Marcus Woodhouse in the house, and we've already talked quite a bit of pickleball. Had a couple more things that we wanted to cover here. So, Marcus, maybe talk to us a little bit about your progression, how you got to be such a high-level player. So you're pretty much a 5.0 pickleball player. I know your duper is probably just slightly below that, but one of the better players that I've had the pleasure of playing with. How did you get there? What are some things that you feel like really took you to the top?
Well, I think, when I started out, having a good group of 4 of us that just played all the time, that were all competitive. And, I always love playing people that are better and
Yeah.
just working on that. And so,
And that is a blessing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Oh,
not,
yeah.
not everybody gets that chance. And I was going to say this earlier too. It's worth noting it's a mixed group that you played
Yes.
with as well. It was not just 3 other guys that you were playing with,
Right.
which for me was kind of the same. I was playing a lot of mixed when I started off, and also speaks to how great pickleball is that, you know, you
can play with women.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
still get really, really
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do.
sorry.
So I do attribute a lot to that, and then I love the strategy of the game. So just figuring out how I lost that last match, how we can do it different. Do we need a reverse stack? Do we need, like, I might not be able to figure it out on the court.
Yeah.
But that night or the next day,
Film?
It's-
Are you watching
no,
film?
no, I replay.
Okay, in your
like,
mind.
Yeah, what we did, what happened, and then work on it.
Yeah.
And so if I go play rec play out at the park, I'm working on 2 to 3 different shots, and I'll usually tell my partner sorry for the first 5 points
Yeah.
because I'm going to work on something, and then if we have to win to stay on the court, then I'll
Okay.
go back to basics. But
Yeah.
I like to work on, like, any rec game. I really don't care if I win or lose a rec game. I'm working on something, and then
Yeah.
you know, me and Becca will drill different shots,
Yeah.
and just surround yourself with better players, or at least people that want to get better.
Yeah.
And drill.
Drilling's so key.
Yeah, and I will say I am benefit of having like an inside out shot that a lot of people don't read, don't play against, and so that's like a benefit. It's a curse and a benefit because
Sure.
you know, you can use it too much, but for me that was just like a natural
Yeah.
shot that I had. So, and I just think, you know, the more active you are, and you know,
Yeah.
more you play, and you know, just play with whoever, you know, find people. For me, I have to play with somebody that's encouraging.
Yeah.
If you roll your eyes, I'm not the person to play with.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because was that for you or was it for me? Like,
Right.
I want the person, no matter what, if we hit it in the net, it's like, all right, let's go focus. Let's hit the next shot.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, that helps
Yeah.
a ton. And then just being able to communicate, if you can communicate with the person that you're playing with,
Yeah.
that takes you up. Because if you can't communicate and you can't make strategy and stuff like that,
Right.
like, you're not going to keep getting better.
Yep.
And so I have to have Becca remind me. I'm like, all right, are we just playing for fun this game,
Right.
or are we going to play like the tournament to get focused? Because I can be really pickleball
Right.
focused and like dialed in. Because like when we play a tournament, we know exactly what we're doing, how we're setting up the
Yeah.
first few plays
Yeah.
to find out what people's weaknesses are and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So we already have.
So you almost have kind of a script that you go
Yeah,
with
yeah.
to kind of feel out the other.
right,
I
and
love
then
that.
and then adjust from there.
Yeah.
I feel like you should ask me that before we play. Like, Abby, are we playing tournament, or are we just, because Matt's
you're-
also tournament all the time. And
Yeah.
I'm
your,
like,
your answer would be, it's always fun.
it's
Right.
always fun.
Yeah. And I'm always
Stop
like,
being so
"But we
serious."
got to win. We gotta
But no,
win."
but we can also just have fun.
Both. I like both.
But winning's fun.
Right.
It is. I mean, winning is fun, but
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and sometimes you're just working on a shot, or
Yeah.
you're playing against 2 people that may not be comparable,
Right.
and so like you're
Yeah.
trying to hit to the better player, and so that's not really a good
Yeah,
time to
that's
like
true.
be tournament ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the 1 or 2 things right now that you're drilling or really working on?
2-hand backhand.
Okay. Yeah.
So 2-hand backhand down the line at the body, cross court. If I could,
I think you nailed me with a couple of those today.
I love.
I remember that.
So the inside out forehand or backhand is kind of like the setup shot.
Uh-huh.
You know, before it like really works. So if it works, great.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting it to work other than to catch somebody off guard,
Yeah.
pop it up, and then put it away.
Right.
So like, I always tell people, what is your favorite shot? Work on that really good. Like, and if you like to do it, then what sets you up? Like, you know, like if you guys play together, what is your favorite shot? Because I want to, you know, as a guy, I don't want to drive the ball if you don't like to be drive back at, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if
that's a
I
good
drive
point.
it, it's
Right.
going to come back
Right.
fast. So
Yeah.
I want whoever I'm playing with, what is your favorite shot? Because then that becomes what I want to set you up with.
Yeah.
That is really, I'd never thought of that. It's really
So
interesting.
because like not
Yeah.
everybody's like has that one shot or that one skill, and
Yeah.
so you know, basics, master basics. You
Yeah.
know, if you are a 4.0, 3.5, wanting to get better, just get really good at the basics, because dink all day.
Right.
We will dig in and dink all day if we need to do it.
Mhm.
And you know, If you play against bangers, you need to slow it down. If you play against slow down people, you need to speed it up. So you got to be able to have those. And if
Gotta
you
have
don't,
both, yeah.
then you just have to be able to reset and make somebody move and, be patient.
Yeah, I really like that tip for dinking all day.
Yeah.
That's good for
Yeah.
the.
It's the mindset.
Yeah.
It's kind of like wind. Oh, I hate wind. I love wind.
Yeah.
If you hate it, I love
How many
it.
times have I said that?
Right?
Yeah. People talk about that, and that's how I was as a golfer as well.
And I'm gonna say right out front, I love it. I love the wind.
Yeah.
So if you
It's a
say
mindset.
right, anything
Yes.
that anybody on the court says, man, I hate those lines. Oh, I love these lines.
Should I just
Like,
leave, guys?
Sorry to gang up on you. I'm 100% in with that.
I'm
Like,
just-
I
it's
love
always
always positive. Like
Yeah.
it's always you got to whatever's negative, you have to turn to a positive because I mean, if
100%.
not, then you believe it, and it messes with you. I played with somebody that like if the wind's blowing, they didn't think they had a chance.
Yeah, they're already done.
And you're like, I just came all this way to be done.
Right.
Like,
Right,
no,
right.
like,
Yeah.
Everybody's dealing with this.
Right.
you know?
Right.
right.
Yeah.
And so spinach shots are great in the wind.
There it is.
Drink, man.
It's-
Drink up.
So
Drink up.
those, figure out what you can do good.
Yeah.
So I have a question on your two-handed backhand. Is the more unexpected thing about that shot, do you think, is that the ability to get it over but still low enough where no one can do anything with it? Is that what makes it? Because I'm thinking in order for me to get that kind of shot, man, it's setting up to be returned back at me in a way that I don't want it to be returned.
Right.
So and that's my only thought is like
But-
they don't think it's gonna travel just barely over the net, and so it's still towards their feet.
I don't even care if it's barely over the net, because if you hit it down the line, 90% of the shots are coming back down the line. So if I already know that I'm loading up my second shot. The first one, that two-handed backhand, is to really set up either a forehand or another backhand.
So you're either running around to get back to that forehand,
Right.
or you're sitting right on that same
Yeah.
one.
So for me, like the percentage is it's coming back down the line. And so I'm good with it. So I don't have to hit a winner with the two-handed backhand. But the way that I play and hold the paddle, which would be just your regular, like grab a handle, a hammer, when you put that hand out for a backhand, that paddle's tilted faced up. It's hard you'd have to turn your grip to be more down or like whip it down. So for me, that's a bad position to be in if somebody's driving it hard. So having two hands on puts the face of it more down,
able to
and
angle
then
it
I
down.
can roll it.
Yeah.
But now it's more of a weapon because I can go down the line or at somebody or through the middle, depending on how high, what ball we're playing with, and how high it bounces determines what I'm going to do with that. And it just makes that person more, they don't know what you're going to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You mentioned the Indy Pickleball Club. Abby was fangirling over.
The president.
Yes, the president. You were that president for how long?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
For 3 years. You're not currently, but maybe kind of talk about what your role was in that. What was the purpose? Because you started the Indy Pickleball Club, correct?
So me and Sarah Oblon had started it. We were up in a tournament, went to a tournament in Grand Rapids, and talked to Paul Richards and Bob White. If you ever want to start a club,
Those are
the Grand Rapids Pickleball Club is like, to me, the pinnacle of what you should be. It's about community. It's about growing the sport. It's
awesome.
There's not a better tournament around.
And that's
in the
Beer
Midwest.
City Open,
Yeah,
as you're
Beer
talking
City
about,
Open, and not any two nicer people to they're like, here, we'll send you our bylaws and have
awesome.
access
Yeah.
to
Wide
call
open.
anytime.
Yeah.
And so coming back from that tournament, it's like we need that in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
We need that one voice, not only just to grow the sport of pickleball in Indianapolis, but to help with parks departments, lessons, a wide variety. Tournaments. I love tournaments, and if you go to a bad tournament, you're like, I'm not going back to that. And I wanted Indianapolis to be a place for people to come and play tournaments. Big picture goal, I'd love for any pickleball club to have their own facility. And then that way, like during the week, school groups can come in and, do lessons, teach them pickleball, send them back out with nets and paddles and stuff. That was always like long-term, if we ever got a place, but just growing the sport around and, I mean, Indianapolis is such a nice city to come to that if we could ever get like 50 courts, we would host a tournament.
Oh my
And
gosh,
so you know,
we've had great experiences in the Indy.
yeah.
tournaments.
So you know, if you're coming to Indy for a tournament that's ran by Indy Pickleball Club, you're going to get good swag. You're going to get some shirts, some hats.
Those hats were awesome.
I still wear my
the
winter
little
beanie.
Yeah,
Yep.
you
That
know,
was an amazing
You're going to
hat.
get good medals. You know, I dislike the 50-cent medals with the sticker on
I was
them.
gonna say the one that we have is that it's the pickleball, the best sport ever.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
such a
Is it the
nice
spinner?
medal.
Was it the
No,
Oh,
spinner?
I got the
You-
spinner
well,
one.
got
I
the
wasn't.
spinner?
I don't think I was playing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice.
So I got to
Yeah.
design
That's awesome.
a lot of the
Is that right?
medals. Yeah.
Those were good ones.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
so the fan experience
Yeah.
for me is huge.
Yeah.
So whether you're a first time or a long time,
Yeah.
you know, even when it goes down to if you're 4-5-5-0, you know, we're going to set up the time because 4-5-5-0 people travel farther than the 3-0-3-5.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to set up so that you play later in the afternoon on a Saturday.
Okay.
You get play earlier on a Sunday. That way you can travel home. Like
Nice.
helps with
And
that.
you're thinking of a lot of things. That's
right.
really That's
so
awesome.
it's not just, you know, just because they're the higher level, but like they travel farther. And so I can get
Sure.
more people from farther away to come
Yeah.
to a tournament. But you know you're gonna play round robin.
Yeah.
And if we have the court space and availability, you're gonna get everybody from your bracket
Yeah.
into single elimination. Like that's ultimately our goal. We can't always do that because of time.
Sure.
But I mean and then you're not there all day long
Right.
playing 6 games.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So for
Yeah.
me, that was my
Yeah.
biggest goal is that fan experience.
Yeah.
But we grew a great group of people
Oh, sorry.
to, help for donations.
Sure.
Dan Hollis is director of fundraising, and so we could get sponsorships for courts so that we could give good medals, give good shirts.
That's awesome.
We had $1,000 last year. We had open men's and women's, and the winning team got $1,000.
Holy cow.
And so, being able to do things like that, we had a great sponsor
Yeah.
that said, "I'll give the money."
Sure.
We have one of our sponsors, longtime sponsors. They do all the food,
Wow.
so they bring the apples and bananas and stuff, and that's what their contribution
Yeah.
for it, and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
They have a tent, and and so just being able to do that, we've done some stuff for the Humane Society of Hamilton County. Worked with them. I think this year we wrote a check for $7,000
That's awesome.
from a tournament we did.
Yeah.
And just
One of the
help give
many
back.
reasons I love pickleball so much. It's about growing the sport. It's about
Community.
the community.
Yeah.
It's just
That's probably maybe the
Kids. I
favorite
mean, that's
thing
so great.
after the competitive side
Right.
is the social side.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look at your phone and how many you're like, did I have friends before pickleball? Like,
That's a great question.
Right.
I mean, I did, but not nearly as many. And
Right.
and it's the cool part is all walks of life,
Yeah,
right? I
for
mean,
sure.
I can play right beside a millionaire,
Yeah.
or I can play against somebody that's
Matt and I.
yeah,
Right.
like me.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Me.
Like the average, the average. It's just
Yeah.
and
Right.
the stories and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
things you learn about people, and it's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
You really did such a great job of accomplishing so many of those goals. I mean, we loved the indie tournaments we were in.
Yeah.
We got good stuff.
forward
That's
to
just
more.
so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was, hoping at this point to turn a little bit,
Yeah.
if you're okay with that. I want to talk through parts of your childhood, whatever you're comfortable sharing. You've mentioned before that you're adopted, and Matt and I are adoptive parents. So I just enjoy hearing stories like yours, the good, the bad, everything in between. So
I'll give you the 2-minute version.
Or whatever.
So, me, my brother, and sister so we'll go back 11 months old. I was in a house fire.
Okay.
My brother and sister got out. I was dead. Fireman came in, saved me, gave me mouth to mouth. Got
You
a
were
purple-
11 months old.
I was 11 months old. And so they said, then they said probably I wouldn't grow half my hair back. They didn't say I'd lose half my hair back when I got older, but so you can see like a little spot here, like on the side on my forehead, and on my hand is still what's left.
Was it because of inhalation? Is
yeah.
that okay?
Yeah.
And where was this at? Where did you live?
in Greenfield.
In Greenfield.
Yeah,
Okay.
Indiana.
Okay.
And so from that, my mom kind of went AWOL and left, ended up in California. My dad wasn't ready to handle 3 kids, and so gave us up for adoption.
All 3 of you.
All 3 of us.
Yeah.
And so we went to a couple foster homes. We went to the one, and they had 2 older kids. They fostered us for a while, and then
Now, do you remember this or?
yes and no.
Okay.
So the people that got fostered, this one is the people that actually ended up adopting
Oh,
us. And
okay.
so, but somebody else was going to adopt us, and when they were just foster parents, and so we went to them. It didn't work out, probably because my sister had to feed me toilet water.
So don't
I
do
was
that.
crying. I was crying, and
Oh my
she was small enough that she couldn't like
Yeah.
get to the sink, and so she went into my room, got my baby bottle, went to the
Oh,
toilet,
that's so
filled
sad.
it up, and brought it back.
Wow.
And so I don't know why that didn't work out. That family didn't work out.
So they were not caring for you.
No, and
Oh.
so they called the foster parents that had taken care of us and said, "Would you guys take them back?" And they had a family meeting and said, "The only way we'll take them back is if we can adopt them."
Oh, that's awesome.
And so
How old were you? How old were you at this point?
maybe a couple years old. I don't
Okay.
know exactly. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
when young.
Under 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they gave us new middle names and obviously last names.
Okay.
And so, super thankful that they,
Yeah.
want to do that. Because, I mean, obviously having 2 kids already and then adding 3 that are, I mean, so like when I'm 50, my brother's 51, my sister's 52. My brother and sister are Irish twins.
Oh my
Okay.
And
goodness.
then me and my brother about a year and a half. And
Wow.
so, and then when they first got us, they were still changing dressings and stuff for me.
Wow.
So like you add that on,
Wow.
That's tough.
That's
Wow.
a handful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
It's amazing. Amazing people. Are they still, are your parents still alive?
so my dad passed away 2 years ago on Thanksgiving. He had a stroke like 7 years earlier. And my mom's still around.
Yeah.
And so, but we'll go back just a little bit. So my senior year of high school, my brother's like, "Hey, I want to find our biological parents."
Oh, wow.
And so
How did you feel about
This
that?
was your senior year or his senior?
my senior year. So I'm
Okay.
the youngest.
You're the
So
youngest.
they're all out. My brother was modeling and doing stuff.
Wow.
And so he's like, I'll pay for a detective or whatever. And so I decided my senior year, I decided to take art as a blow off class. And so I'm looking through the school paper, flipping through, and there's a Robert Swords II. Well, I knew that our name was Swords, and I knew my brother was a Robert Jr.
No way.
And so I was like, huh. So I start flipping through the phone book and found a Robert Sword Sr. So I called my brother and I'm like, "Hey, I think I found our dad." And so my brother just
Did
calls
you ask
him
to
up.
get paid? Like, because
That's
you were the
amazing.
detective.
Yeah.
I know. I
what is
should have. I
that?
should have.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So my brother called and says, "Hey, did you give up 3 kids?"
No way. That's just
Yeah.
his blunt,
yeah.
blunt question.
Yeah. And so, and crazy part was like my half brother went to school with me for a year and a half, didn't know it, but they live like 2 miles down the road. And my dad my biological dad drove by our house every day to work.
Oh my
no
gosh.
way.
So now knowing this, my parents, when they adopted us,
Yeah.
the courts had to go through some special things because you're not allowed to adopt people in the same city or the county that you live in.
Oh,
So,
okay.
That's interesting.
so if my biological parents lived in Hancock County,
Right.
you couldn't adopt somebody from Hancock County if you
Right.
lived in Hancock
Right.
County because of relatives and
Yeah,
different
yeah.
things like that.
Mhm.
But they
Okay.
made an exception because, I mean, obviously 3 kids,
Right.
young, and somebody's willing to
Right.
adopt them.
Yeah.
So because of what happened,
Yeah.
you find out he went to school with a half brother for a year and a
So
half and
crazy.
didn't know it. So my biological dad's still alive.
Okay.
So did you meet him then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they called, and so my graduation party,
Okay.
my biological mom and dad were both there, and that was the first time that they had met since the fire.
Gosh.
And
Unbelievable. Was
and
that like super emotional? I mean,
well, I was young,
Yeah.
so I was nervous a little bit because like
You knew they
I'm
were
pretty
coming.
shy
Yeah.
anyway, and so like I'd met both of them and all that, but like
Yeah.
just the situation. But they both were like, "Hey, this is your day," you know,
Yeah.
and they were cool. My parents that raised me
Yeah.
couldn't ask for better. So when I think we talked, you messaged and asked like advice,
Yeah.
and I was telling my mom this week. I said, the one thing that I really appreciated was the fact that they always told us we were adopted,
Yep.
and that anytime that we wanted to try to find, they would do whatever they could to help. Like they weren't scared. And so on graduation day, my mom gave them 2 photo albums of pictures of us growing up.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
And you think about that and you're like,
Yeah.
to be that unselfish,
Yeah.
and not only to welcome them into your home,
Right.
but then to give them all these pictures of your childhood
Right.
so that they,
That's really sweet.
Yeah. that to me is like one of
Mm-hmm.
those things that you can't,
Yeah.
because I've met people that,
Yeah.
they didn't tell their kid,
Right.
and they found out when they're in college, and then they don't talk to the
Right.
parents for for a long time. Like that, it's hard being a parent
Sure.
for the first time. I mean, even with you guys have 5,
Yeah.
like you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna,
We've made a couple
yeah. So I mean,
this week.
if I can tell kids on the kids side is give your parents grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no handbook.
Yeah.
But on the parent side, it's so good to know not only that you're loved,
Right.
but that we're behind you. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's emotional wreck to find parents, but
Yeah.
like that's so comforting for a kid to
Yeah.
know that any given time you could do that. And
Right.
so like another thing, they actually my parents had kept like a clipping of the article in the paper of the fireman that had saved my life and
Oh.
gave me a Purple Heart. So I actually
Wow.
got to meet him in high school
Oh, that's cool.
and thank him for
Wow,
that.
that's amazing.
And so just having those opportunities
Yeah.
that I would have never known how to even go about that if they wouldn't have offered that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I mean, I know this is an adoption podcast, but that's one of the things we talk about all the time. How much we
Yeah.
love adoption and just the stories, and that we talk to our girls all the time, and we're lockstep with you in that it's part of their story. It's how God
Yeah.
put our family together, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It always I've got pretty thick skin. I don't get offended, but when I see like in TV shows or like those off-putting comments, like, well, they'll say something like, well, you're adopted or something
As a
like a
derogatory statement,
derogatory
I get
joke.
like,
Yeah, that hurts me for my
Yeah,
girls, and
yeah.
thinking because it's a beautiful thing. It's
Right.
it
Well,
really-
and the fact that they can't account for, hey, somebody couldn't take care of you.
right,
And now I have somebody that's a complete stranger
right,
that is willing and loving
yeah,
to do that. That's
Yeah.
more than just the normal,
Yeah.
like the normal parent, right?
Right.
Like you love your kids
yeah,
right.
a lot, but like you bring somebody else in, like to do that's even more, like you got to have
Yeah.
even that much more
Mm.
love and
Yeah.
patience and
But I've always said, as an adoptive mom, I get the best part. I
Yeah.
got the kid,
Yeah.
and so I know my kids are going to have to probably process things and
Yeah.
walk through that and come to. I mean, my prayer is just that they come to an acceptance with their story, because I mean, at any person has to accept their story,
Right.
for where the Lord has placed them. But
and we think about their birth moms
birth
as well,
mom, yeah.
and how hard that would be. I mean,
Yeah.
thinking
Right.
about your
Yeah.
your dad being a couple miles away, and how many times I'm sure
he probably thought
Yeah.
of you guys
daily or
and-
weekly you drove by and all
Yeah.
that. I'm sure
Yeah.
was a lot of baggage to carry
yeah.
for them.
And
here.
Yeah.
and when I met both of them, I didn't have any expectations. Like, just wanted to meet them, know
Sure.
them. If there was a relationship after that,
Yeah.
great. If not, I'm okay with that. Like
Yeah.
the parents that raised me, I mean, they're my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
And did your siblings? Did they was there some processing on their end too? And
yeah, I mean, everybody deals with it,
Yeah.
and they have different experiences.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, we're all different.
Yeah.
And so, some are better than others.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so-
we see that in our
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. And so for me, I guess I've always had that glass half full,
Mhm.
like positive,
Mhm.
like can't dwell. Like
Right.
it just takes up too much brain power to like be negative and like
Can't change
stress
it. Yeah,
on
yeah.
Yeah.
reality. And
Yeah.
it's just like, well, let's move on.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It's windy, right?
So as my yeah,
Yeah.
it's windy, and so my dad that passed away.
And I'm sorry, you said that was your
His
adopted dad.
Adoptive, yeah.
Your biological father's still.
So he's still alive. But whenever we get in trouble, get our spanking,
Yep.
move on. And so I have forward on my arm.
Yeah.
Because
I
it
did
was
wonder,
always
yeah.
move forward, always,
Mm-hmm.
And so I've taken that, no matter pickleball or,
Right.
adoption, whatever in life.
Could you try again?
Oh, Siri.
So rude.
Who was that? Was that you?
I think it's right here.
On your watch.
So,
Does she want us to rehash all of
I
that?
guess.
Tune in to one more game, sir. You'll if you didn't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that, you will.
Yeah.
yeah. So always just moving forward,
Yeah.
no
Sure.
matter what it is.
Right.
Like life's obviously
Yeah.
way too short,
Yeah.
And it does no good
no.
to continue to rehash things that you cannot change.
No. And so like, even if, if I was mad at you, Matt, we might hash it out, but just move on,
Right.
Yeah.
and get it over with. I don't have to be best friends with you, but like,
Right.
there's no
Right.
point of like holding a grudge or,
Right. Yeah.
It's
Is it
just-
because I hit you that one time on the court today? or-
no, because
Oh.
I probably would
You-
go like twice back,
I
right?
was gonna say I think you hit him too. So
So I think
mean, that's-
the slow hit is way worse than the hard hit.
He was expected it hard. It was just a little.
yeah. Yeah. So I feel like that's really good advice for so many areas of life. Is like just not dwelling on the past and things you can't control.
Yeah.
And that's really good stuff.
I mean, if you want to save money on therapy,
Yeah.
Just listen to this podcast.
just
Move forward.
yeah.
Okay. So really, I think we can wrap this episode up.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you have
Yeah. We
A
usually,
game.
Yeah. Anytime we have a guest in studio, we like to have some sort of a kind of fun game. And so came up with one. This is called Know Your Pros. So first of all, tell us, Marcus, like how much do you pay attention to like the pro circuit? Or are you
Yes.
like a hardcore? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the hard version of this game then, since you said yes.
All right.
So-
Yeah, I love
Challenge
to
accepted.
watch the pros play.
Okay. Do you
Okay.
follow like their personal lives?
No.
And,
okay. Well,
I
then you
could-
might be in trouble.
Okay. So
I mean,
so we'll give you the modified
Modified
Yeah.
version.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, if it has to do with gossip, I'm out.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
it's
yeah.
not gossip.
No, we're
It's
not doing any gossip
No.
stuff.
All right,
No.
good.
There's plenty of that I've
Yeah.
heard from
Oh,
time to time.
geez.
But anyways, so I'm going to give you a pro, and some of these I'll give you maybe a couple of them, and then you have to like match what is their like day job. Like besides, it's turning more and more that a pickleball pro can do that full time.
But some of them have jobs.
But most of them have jobs or
All right.
have a major or whatever. So let's just start with Zane Navratil. Do you know what he does outside of pickleball?
Well, I know what he went to school for.
Okay, and that was
So accounting.
yeah. There you go. And that's what you Abby helped me with this.
Yes.
So
Yep.
we had as an account.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
have to give you the multiple choice.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Very good. How about Ben Johns?
Ben Johns went for mechanical engineering.
What? We'll give them that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's
there was a second part of
technically
that,
Yeah.
materials science and
Yeah.
engineering.
Okay.
But you're close.
Yeah.
That was good.
and we've seen that because he kind of helped design the new.
Jolo.
Y-
YOLO.
Yola. Yola.
How are you saying it?
How do you say
Yola?
it?
Yola?
Yola?
I don't know.
Yola?
Yola. Yola.
I say YOLO. You only
YOLO.
live once.
I always say
YOLO.
if there's letters in it, I'm pronouncing it with them.
Yola.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. He only speaks temper though, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
My favorite. I mean, I was their second player that they ever signed.
Really?
And longest player still playing with them.
is that right?
But great family. And
Okay.
I love their
I did want to
paddles.
ask you about that earlier. Like, how did that relationship start? Did they approach you?
So actually, like I knew them, and then actually Victor, out of Lafayette,
Okay.
had brought a paddle down to play with, and I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
love it.
Really?
And so I, got the relationship with
Nice.
them,
Yeah.
and just started talking, and then they signed me, and
That's
so
awesome.
I've played with them ever since.
That's
and
awesome.
always like they'll send me 6 paddles, and I'll give them feedback
That's awesome.
on paddles, and so it's fun. Like I'm a geek. I'll buy a paddle
Yeah.
that's not a temper paddle just to try it, so
Really?
that I know like comparisons of
Really?
what
Okay.
paddles, because then you can see what if somebody's playing with a certain paddle,
Yeah.
like there's tendencies for that paddle
Yeah.
of what it's good and what's bad,
Yeah.
and so you can kind of tell like if I can speed it up close at the kitchen, it's got a lot of pop. So if
Mhm.
you play with a 13 millimeter paddle, I'm going to drive it at you because you got to have really soft hands to
Right.
reset that.
Yeah.
And so like
Jeez, this is like deep dive stuff.
so
Holy, I just blew my brain.
I
Yeah.
like those type of like
Right.
Wow.
so if I get to play with different paddles, then I can see what those are and
Yeah.
you know of what I like and don't like and give that feedback to temper.
That's good. Okay, well,
Dang.
those were two of the more popular players. So this might have been a
Yeah.
little bit of softball.
All right.
Still pretty impressive, though.
Yeah.
So I'll give you two more names. Callie Jo Smith. Do you know what she does? Or is that too?
Other than Wednesday workouts,
Exercise science
She has
and
really
nutrition.
nice legs, to be fair.
That I wouldn't know.
Okay.
good answer.
No comment.
Good answer.
She tests me
I
every
mean,
once in a while.
Without
She has
even-
legs?
She has legs.
Yeah, she's got some pretty good guns too.
Yeah.
She does.
This might be a softball.
Wait, did you say what she did?
Exercise science
Oh,
and
okay,
nutrition,
yeah,
right?
okay,
Yeah. Lee Waters.
Lee Water. No, that was. I have no clue what Lee Waters does.
She's a lawyer. I think I did know that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I was thinking of JW's mom. Do you know what JW's mom actually did?
I thought
You
she
know
was
what?
a tennis
I
instructor.
thought she was a mom. Just kidding. Sorry.
You should know this. PT.
No way.
Yeah,
Was she really?
I didn't know that.
yeah.
That's cool. Okay, I'm going to tell you a fact. Do you know which pro knows 4 different languages?
Ooh, well, but name the languages.
French, English, Spanish, and Serbian. Serbia.
Ooh.
Ooh,
It's kind of a clue in
would
there.
that be Ducklebar
No.
or Jay DeVille?
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
It's Jay.
One of those
But
two.
Serbia, I
Well,
thought that was a
that's-
country.
Yeah, because like
You wrote it down. it says Serbia. Throwing you under the bus.
Sorry. It was late at night.
Serbian, probably. I
Serbian?
think you probably just
Probably.
I don't know.
It was late.
Sorry to our Serbian listeners out there. Very insensitive.
There's all 7 of them.
It's really, just 7
There's
would be
7.
impressive.
Well, I was gonna say 7. I
Wow,
was
that's awesome. All
one
right,
family.
let's go to Jay's partner Tyson. What was his? What was his?
Mullet wearing.
Being hot? What?
Abby.
That was pre-mullet
Yeah.
I don't.
Pre-mullet and
I
grill.
like the mullet.
and the grill,
I do.
the new grill.
Oh.
I think there's a deep something inside of me
That's
that likes
something
kind of
weird,
like
yeah.
trash.
She tried making me have a Tyson McGovern
Yeah.
haircut
Me
for a
too.
minute. I couldn't
I
do it.
listen.
Didn't last
Allen
long,
Iverson
yeah.
was my high school crush.
Did you say? What did you say he was?
What he did before?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was a head tennis pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not surprising.
Yeah.
Is that considered a job?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, he.
I mean, they make they make
Probably
good
made
money.
money.
They do. Yeah.
So
All right. How about I'll give you 2. Corinne Carr and did I say that right? Corinne
Corinne.
Carr and AJ Kohler. One is a civil engineer. The other has a PhD and professor of finance. Do you know which is which?
So the professor of finance, I would think, would be her.
It is.
Yeah.
She's
Corinne.
still teaching.
I mean, because
Yeah.
Adam Stone. Do you know what Adam Stone's profession was?
I do not.
He was a professional gambler,
Was it really?
what?
poker player. He actually
Okay.
paid for college.
Playing poker?
Playing
Like a
poker.
World
That's
Series?
amazing.
Yeah.
Did you ever make it on World Series? poker?
I think he did pretty good.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That's so.
I
Funny.
did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
She's kind of my Tyson is to Abby as Corin Carr is to me.
Mine would be, and Becca knows this,
Yeah.
the biggest smile in pickleball.
Annalie Waters.
No.
Just kidding. That's
No.
creepy.
That's
I
weird.
know.
You can't say
I'm
that.
sorry.
No.
I didn't
She's
want to say
14,
it.
Adam.
I'm just kidding.
And
Good
she's
Lord.
a twin.
Oh, one of the Komodo.
No.
Oh. What? There's another twin out there?
Yeah.
Who is that? I don't know. Oh gosh, we're going blank.
Played with Deckelbar a little bit.
Oh, I'm
I
not
blanked.
good.
Little short, redhead.
Oh, I don't know.
I do know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. I can picture her now. but
I don't know. any
it'll be
short-
in the show notes.
It'll be
I
in
don't
the
know any
show
short redheads.
But she's mine because
Is she super cute?
Just a
she's
big smile.
It's this. It's
Yeah.
the attitude.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's always happy.
Yeah.
She's always in a good mood.
Yeah.
She's like partner-wise, you couldn't ask for a better partner.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Drew Barrymore growing up. Drew
Oh.
Barrymore
Yeah.
was mine. It's the smile, the free.
Elizabeth Shue, just
Yeah.
for the record.
So, it doesn't have to be always the cutest. It's the
Yeah.
personality
Yeah.
that
Right.
does it.
That makes
Absolutely.
sense for sure.
All right, last 2. Lindsay Newman.
Mom.
I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 of them. So Lindsay Newman and Simone. One is mass communication journalism. The other is sociology degree.
Ooh.
Those are pretty-
Sociology, I would
tricky.
think that would be not Simone.
Why? Why do you think that?
I feel like communication would be right up her alley
It
with being a
is.
teacher.
Yep.
Way to
Or
go.
like being a
An
coach.
instructor. Yeah.
Well, she was the coach at Michigan tennis.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Michigan
So,
State or
Michigan State.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Yeah, that was my major actually. Mass communication,
Yep.
journalism. So Simone and I,
Yep.
and then Lindsay, sociology degree.
Yep.
All right, that's our game.
That was it.
I like it.
That was a great
you
game.
got-
I when you first announced it, I'm like, man, I'm going to be bad at this one.
You
'Cause I-
even threw in some new ones.
Yeah.
Right. It was
But
just-
apparently I listened to enough podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
that's good. Good job.
Awesome.
It's just the short, little, cute, redheaded with a smile that we don't know her name.
what
Oh,
is her-
unforgettable.
She plays on the APP tour.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure
Yeah.
it out.
And then we'll be like, oh. Okay.
All right, well, we're going to wrap that up, but this is just part one.
Woohoo.
So make sure you tune in next week for part two with our interview with Marcus. Marcus, thank you for being here. This
Oh,
was
my pleasure.
a
So
lot
fun.
of
awesome.
fun.
So fun.
We'll
Okay.
see you next time. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Hoosier Pickleball, Indiana Physical Therapy, and Pickleball Rocks. In addition, a big thank you to our production company, Coraggio Media, and the 95.7 WELT studio in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or find us on YouTube at One More Game Pod. That's the number one, More Game Pod. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating to help us spread the word. You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok at Hoosier Pickleball for all kinds of fun, tips, tricks, and other family nonsense, and also some great discussion. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.